the Frames Per Second podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Frame Second Podcast. My name is Mike. I'm your host for the evening. Next to me, I have Ken.
What up?
Next to Ken, I have Spike.
What up, though?
And we are reviewing the movie Opus. This was a 2024, or was it 25? 25. Yeah, it was this year. 2025, quote-unquote, psychological horror, I guess, movie. This was the first movie from Mark Anthony Green. God damn, I'm fucking up today. But it stars Ayo Edebiri. I've never heard her name said out loud, so I'm not sure if you pronounce it. But, you know, y'all know Ayo.
From the Bear.
Sydney from the Bear, y'all. John Malkovich, Juliette Lewis, and some others. And I can't really remember why we're doing this. Was this recommended or something? Or
it got voted somewhere, if I'm not sure. Not mistaken.
Something like that.
Oh, well, Jalen said we hadn't done it and people were talking about it. Yeah, in the last meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, people were talking about it, so he feel like we could be in on the conversation with it.
Got it. Okay. All right. So I will start with you, Spike. What'd you think of this film?
There were some good performances in this film. It was entertaining, but I still didn't get it. I didn't get the premise of it, the psychological thriller part. But I wasn't bored watching it. I enjoyed Sydney. Her performance was good. I think John Malkovich is always good, and he did a good job in this. But I wasn't a fan of, like, the storyline and the script. Like, it just didn't do anything for me. I thought it was pointless. I kind of got what they were trying to say with people being so obsessed with this rock star and overlooking all of these things just to be a part of it. I got that part, but it still didn't hit for me. So the movie was okay. The performance was good, but the plot sucked.
Okay. All right. Ken, what do you think of this movie?
I go back and forth. I remember this was a movie that I saw when it first released, and halfway through it, I was intrigued to find out what happened, but at one point I was like, I don't know about it. But then it got to the end, I was like, oh. So I liked the way it ending, but I think there were some parts in the middle that felt a little weak to me. So overall, I felt like it was okay. Yeah, I felt like it was okay. I didn't dislike it after it ended.
Okay. Well, I disliked this. I thought this was some hard-boiled ass. I thought that this was one of the most empty and pointless films I've seen in an extremely long time. I feel like they just copied other movies that did this 10 times better. This felt like the diet version of The Menu mixed with Get Out, mixed with Midsummer. And yeah, I know it sounds harsh, but I'm sorry, bro. This is one of your earlier films. I think this might be his first or second film. Bro, try harder. Try harder. The point wasn't there. Everyone was empty. Even Ayo, who I like her as an actor, she was not good in this.
You don't think she was good?
No, I do not.
I think her and John Malkovich carried it.
I think Ayo is better made for, like, awkward comedies. And I felt like this movie didn't really have an identity. It was like, do you want to be a dark comedy? Do you want to be horror?
That is
Do you
true.
want to be both? It felt like it didn't have a full idea of what it wanted to be. And it seemed like the whole time I'm watching Ayo, she wanted to crack a joke. Or she wanted to be like the awkward, weird, but funny girl. And she wasn't able to do that. Instead, she's being forced to be dramatic. And it didn't work for me.
You're not saying she was bad. Or are you saying she was bad?
I don't think she's a bad actor. I think she was given a bad role.
Okay.
I think that I would still see Ayo in a drama, and I think she would be good. I'm glad you asked that clarifying question. Yeah, I don't want to sound like I'm saying that she's bad as an actor. No, I think that the problem was the script was so trash that she didn't even know what the fuck to do with it. So that was my big problem with this film. Again, I just feel like other movies have done this better. I blame Jordan Peele. You know, if he'd never done the masterpiece that is Get Out, you would not have a whole bunch of motherfuckers copying that formula and trying to be like, hey, I'm going to do a horror movie, but it's actually social commentary. Bro, we don't need this. We don't need this. So
Yeah, I was really the reason why a lot of these movies that go the AMC thrills, I think is what they call them. I tend to watch all of them. I was really curious to see how she would do as a lead in a movie, and I don't think she did bad, and it was so I think she was good enough to carry the movie for me. I think John Malkovich, I thought he was, but I think he had a lot more to work with.
He did.
Yeah,
It was much more depth to that character. It's just, I agree with a lot of what Mike is saying in the sense of, like, the menu was better than this. Like, Get Out was better than this. There was no real, like, clarifying thing that's, like, even why this was happening. So, while it was entertaining, I didn't get the whole, I didn't get it. Like, the end was cool, like you said, but even as it was happening in the middle of the week part that you're talking about, Ken, I was sitting there like, okay, like, what's the motive behind this? Like, I don't understand.
we will get there, but I do feel like I got the motive. But you know what this movie felt like to me the whole time I was watching it when it was being weird. And I like weird movies. I like when I'm watching a film and just weird ass shit's happening. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. This is crazy. This felt like I'm being weird for weird's sake because I saw other people doing weird stuff and I want to copy like that. You know what this felt? It felt like fucking Yeezus. You know what I'm saying? This was like the film version of Yeezus where it's like there's nothing sincere happening. There's nothing meaningful happening. It's just a bunch of weird shit that I've seen other movies do. Yeah. Like, I would be goddamned if when Ariel walks into that fucking barn and there's like the headless body under here. I'm like, bro, we all saw Midsommar, dude. We all saw that movie. Why are you doing this? And I don't even necessarily have a big problem with movies borrowing from other movies. But when you make it so blatant and then you drop it in a turd of a film, no, dude. So we're going to try to run through this. I hate sometimes having to host a movie that I really didn't like, but I'm going to do the best I can. So the movie starts off, we meet Ariel, and that is Ayo's character, and she's working at a newspaper, but hasn't necessarily gotten the story written that she wants to get written. Like, she wants to be that next big name. What did y'all think of Ariel first time meeting her?
She wanted more in life, and it wasn't giving. And you could see that she had big ideas, ambitions. She pitched this whole thing to, this board, and somebody else was selected to do the job over her. And she didn't offer much opposition. She didn't advocate for herself or anything like that.
Right.
So, and I don't know if you have a question about the conversation she had at the.
Yeah, that's next. Yeah.
Okay. So so just off rip, you could see that, she definitely wanted more in life, but she was just being looked at as just another person.
Yeah, I think she was talented, but being overlooked. Like, you could tell as far as the ideas, it's like, yeah, the whole room liked the idea, but not once did it even cross his mind for the story to be hers. And then even being ignored or looked over when she asked for the position. Yeah, just being overlooked.
And she was in the background. Like, if you in the elevator, she's standing in the back of the elevator and people are in front of her. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what did you think? Oh, I'll say I didn't care about her character initially. I was just like, okay, this sounds like a very typical character. And I was like, oh God, are we going the race route? Is she being ignored because she's a black woman? And then I was also like, what the fuck's up with your hair? Your hair is really bothering me. Why is it laid in the front? Well, you got a big helmet in the back. Why you got a black mullet? I don't understand what's happening. But Ken, did you take anything from the conversation she had with her friend, my boy Jesse, that y'all be hating on?
Yeah, man, I didn't know.
That's where he came from.
Yeah. I watched it twice. So I rewatched it last night because it's been a minute since I seen the film, and I was like, man, he looks familiar. And it wasn't until late I looked. I was like, oh my God, that's Jesse. So I think for people that didn't get it, this was you hearing it. That she is a mid person. He called her middle. But she's basically like mid. She's just your average person that has no meaning in life. People always overlook her. So this was them trying to just let us know that she means nothing.
I like that he asked her, do you want like the version that's gonna make you feel better, or do you want me to keep it real with you? And I liked how he kept it real with her. Like you need some friends like it. I couldn't tell if there was a romantic. It was okay.
I think that he liked her,
she didn't,
but she wasn't interested in him like that.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Which means it makes sense on how he read her like that. Then so, but I did like that conversation between them two. I think that he did a good job of like, come on, man, you got to be real with yourself.
Well, I'm glad y'all liked this scene. I did not. I thought it had no real use because it was like, I feel like a lot of this movie, and this scene included, treated the audience like we were really stupid. Y'all already started the movie off by showing that she's ignored. Why did we need her talking to Jesse and for Jesse to say, hey, you're being ignored because you're really middle of the road? Why did we need that? We could have gotten that by y'all actually doing character development and showing that she's not advocating for herself and pushing for herself. So yeah, I didn't like this scene. I was just like, all right, well, that served no real purpose because I'm not dumb.
It never came back around.
Never came back around at all. So so we find out after 27 years, Alfred Moretti, who is John Malkovich's character, he's this really popular pop star, and he's returning with a new album, and he's doing this sort of listening party that's invite only. On top of the paper's manager, who is Stan, getting an invite, Ariel also gets one, which leads us to meeting the other folks who got an invite. We have Clara, who was Juliette Lewis's character, and she's this kind of TV personality. Also, she's supposed to be like a sex symbol, which we can get into.
Was she?
Bianca, who was like a top paparazzi. Bianca was like the kind of I don't know what the word would be, but kind of like the tough-ish looking white woman. Then you have Emily, who is apparently an influencer. She was the Asian woman. And then you have Bill, who has a podcast, who we learn apparently at some point him and Moretti didn't like each other. So what did you take from meeting these people?
Well, it was interesting. I think they made it a point to make sure that we knew Bill was there, and he had some very adversarial comments to say about him. So when they said that about him, I was wondering, did the other members have anything negative to say as well, or not? That was a thought that went through my head, but of course I didn't know that, but I thought it was interesting. But I didn't really know what any of them did until sort of later when he kind of explained it. They were just kind of there, and fans. I think the thing I was asking myself was like, why was she invited when she's basically nobody? So obviously there's a reason, which we'll find out later. But yeah, they were just kind of there for the most part.
Yeah, none of these were strong characters to me. I didn't care, like you said, about any of them, including her boss, like the editor. Like he wasn't properly vetted out for us to be like, oh man, I have a vested interest in any one of these people that's popping up into the house. So yeah, like I was like Ken, like I was halfway through and like, what's she doing again? Like what? Why is she here?
Well, they explained the influencer later because they took a shot at influencer culture. And then you have the whole legacy media versus new media sort of discussion that they were having. The old lady, I can't recall, even though I watched it twice, them even saying what she did. And Juliette Lewis, I think we saw her on TV.
Yeah.
So, but for the most part, nah.
Yeah, these were all very empty-ass characters. I wasn't interested in any of them. I was more stuck on, as much as I like Juliette Lewis, I think she's pretty. Sex symbol, no. So it was just weird. It was weird casting. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't see that in her. I just don't. And it didn't even seem like she was comfortable in that role.
True. She didn't, yeah.
She doesn't exude sex symbol. I mean, she's always been the cool, badass chick. She's always been that. She's never been the sex symbol. So I don't know why they cast her in that role. Maybe they just wanted a big name and they couldn't get anybody else. But yeah, none of these people were interesting to me at all. Especially the influencer, the Bill thing. It was like, again, it was like playing with the audience, making sure we understand. Hey, Bill doesn't like Moretti and said some things about him, so make sure you remember that because it's gonna come back around. Which, of course, it did. But so they arrive, and after handing over their cell phones, we see the grounds where the event's taking place. We see people doing art. We see some horses. Spike, what did you think of the grounds that they're on?
What you said in the beginning, I saw they trying to do some Get Out type shit. Like it's a weird vibe. Like everybody got this weird little way of addressing you and talking. And I was worried at that point, like, okay, this ain't gonna be as good as what they trying to get it to. Like if the template was Get Out, I wasn't as interested in nothing in this story as I was when he got to the house and Get Out. And you first noticed the weird vibe, but your mind was like, okay, what's going on? With this one, it was like you pick up immediately and you don't care what's going on. It's like, oh, this is a cult. Like you immediately pick that up. Oh, this is a cult. So it was not great.
I think Blink Twice maybe was kind of did something similar as well.
Yes.
So I definitely thought about that as a reference. Anytime you have to give up phones, you know something's bad gonna go up. To enhance the experience. And these were people. One of the things he tried to do is like, oh, people are obsessed with this guy. This is fucking Kanye. So and people are obsessed with him. So you get to this place and it looked like these are just obsessed fans that are with them, but everybody's dressed the same. Blue is the recurring color theme that's going on, and you start to over time say, "Oh, these are cultists," and then they tell us.
Right. Yeah. This is one of my biggest issues with this film is like they again were trying so hard to be weird, but in reality, I don't even think that the things that they were doing were necessarily that weird. It was just like. They were just trying to force the weird on us. Like people were painting. I've been to camps where people just sit around painting. There are horses here. Okay. But it was like the way it was filmed and everybody's smiling and being weird. It was like, bro, you're just like, you're trying to force this feeling of uncomfortability. And I wasn't buying into it, man. There's nothing really that weird about it. So then we meet Alfred Moretti. Did you take anything, Ken, from his story about Muhammad Ali?
Absolutely not. And even on this, because the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, what was the whole point of that? The second time I watched it, after knowing what happens in the movie, I'm like, there really is no point of that, except I guess maybe to portray him as being weird and one of those guys that people that are fans with him will laugh at something that makes no sense. So they're just they're all into the character of who Moretti is, and that even his jokes that are not funny, they were going to laugh at like they were funny. Because I really thought I missed the joke. I really thought I missed the joke. So, and if I did, please enlighten me. But I was like, okay, maybe they just want us to show that people are obsessed with this guy and they're just going to go with whatever he says. They're all bought in.
I was fully prepared to come here and ask y'all, did I miss something? It did not land. But I did pick up the sense of what you said, Ken. It's like, oh, okay, people just are laughing at anything he say because this was stupid.
This part pissed me off. I was like, why is this so long? Why did this story need to be 4.5 minutes long? And it had no purpose in this film. And if there was a purpose, I didn't get it. But I thought the same thing. Oh, are they just laughing because they're obsessed with him? I was like, all right, well, cool. What about the bread, Spike? What did you take when they
had to eat the same bread?
Biting the bread.
Pass. I would have passed.
Jesus.
I got to go to the bathroom or something.
Yeah.
I would not have eaten that bread.
I'm missing my round on that bread. I'm not biting it out to everybody that took the bite off of it. No.
He's supposed to be Jesus, man.
Is that what that was the simplification of?
I was trying to figure
breaking
out.
the bread?
That's what I assumed, too.
Passing the bread around. Like,
you could have pinched a piece off.
Right. You got to bite it?
Put your whole mouth on that shit? No.
Absolutely not. Yeah. That didn't make any sense. Yeah, that was just like, why are y'all even doing this?
Yeah, it's to Mike thing. It was just they were just doing weird shit to be weird. Like I didn't see any significance. Even you saying to Jesus, I ain't even think about that until like no.
Well, cults are bought in. So first roll or whatever they call it, that's okay. We do first roll, but shit, all kind of germs and stuff being passed around, bro. Y'all can keep that shit. I don't know any of these people in here, and they all Didn't she take a bite, or she kind of faked like she took a bite?
I think
she
she took
bit
a bite.
it. Yeah, she bit
I
it.
mean, it was a tiny bite.
It was a tiny bite, but she bit it still. Nasty motherfucker.
Like that.
I've been trying to find a spot nobody had done bit off.
And then they tried to. Yeah, that was so unbelievable. This a black woman, bro. Why y'all play her like that?
Facts.
What did you think of the conversation between Ariel and Moretti when he like walked up behind her?
What did he say?
Sycophant had an O, so he was
sycophant.
Yeah,
So she spelled sycophant wrong, and then they kind of just started like kind of chit chatting a little bit.
I vaguely remember that.
Okay.
I think she was already writing negative things because she had that conversation with York about how he got there, and he said he just received a call and he was there. So she was writing about that, but that's about it. It seemed like he was. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to replay it. Like, I remember the conversation, but it was, I don't know the purpose of it. Like, he is seeing that she's saying negative things about him. Then when Bill and Moretti had the conversation, he was like water under the bridge. So, it seems like he's okay with people saying negative things about him, which we found out he isn't. So, outside of that, it seems to me like she has a very negative view of what's going on here.
This is where the movie shit the bed for me when I think back on it. Because it makes absolutely no fucking sense that she did not ask him why he invited her. Because everybody else there was somebody. Everybody there was somebody but her. Why did he pick her out of everybody else that he could have picked? And why in this moment when they're having a fairly candid conversation, he's being pretty friendly, why didn't she ask, well, what was it about me? Why,
Good point.
I was just like, all right, man, this doesn't make any fucking sense, man.
I think at that point she was embarrassed, though, because he had read what she wrote. So, but to your point later, she had another opportunity to ask. And I kept waiting for that.
Right.
But it never happened.
Until the end, which is years later, apparently. But yeah, so each person is assigned a concierge who watches them for 24 hours a day. And one of them is sitting outside of Ariel's room. Was that intriguing at all to either one of you?
No.
I was wondering, because this lady was a psycho. And we only really got a chance to see this one. We didn't see any of the
we
other
didn't see the
ones.
rest of them,
Yeah, now that I think about it, we knew they were there, but we never saw their relationship with the other ones to the point that they were weirded out as she eventually became. But I guess not really. I knew it was going to have a purpose at some point, but nah, not then.
Yeah, I wasn't really intrigued either. By this point, I was already dozing off because I was like, this is fucking boring. So I didn't really care why this woman was sitting outside her house or her room popping gum like that. I was like, all right, well, this is silly.
It didn't add on to the interest level at all. We already knew that was weird, and they was in a weird spot. So like, that didn't add to the interest level.
And if that would have paid off in the end, fine. But it didn't even fucking pay off. But what y'all think about what happened to Bill? Bill was the guy that was getting a massage.
They cut his neck off, head off. Right.
Yeah.
They didn't even get no context with it.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they
What'd
did.
they say?
He was the one that was talking shit about Moretti. Him and Moretti didn't get along.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's true. I'm saying in the sense of, if you hadn't seen any promotion for this film, like no previews or nothing, you had no idea it was this type of movie. Yeah, he talked bad about him, but y'all just cut a man's head off. Like, how do y'all expect to get away with this? Like, what's going on? Like that, if you're going into this like just straight blind, there's weird and creepy and damn, this is a weird place. But then to just cut somebody's head off in the middle of a massage and like that be the all right, we're gonna turn it into the psychological thriller movie. My whole time in wondering this, I'm like, what are they gonna do with the bodies and stuff? Like, where are they gonna put these people? Like, it didn't make no sense. It wasn't like this was something that they did all the time and they would practice in disappearing people. There was just like, if they had told a story and there's mystery, like people go to this little camp as reporters, they don't come back, or this one guy disappeared and he never came back. There was just no context for you. Like, oh, he didn't like you, so you cut his head off. You were here to kill all of the people. Like it was weird.
I think this was the first time they've done at least the murders.
Yeah.
because it was a larger purpose. But a little to your point, though, the first time I watched it, I didn't even remember who the fuck he was.
Yeah.
That too.
So when he cut his
That
head
too.
off, I was like, who the fuck was Bill?
Right. Exactly.
You know, because it was just, he got 2 mentions and then he was gone outside of her asking where
he
Bill
at?
was at.
Yeah.
So I think at this point they had to kill somebody, but I didn't really know. I couldn't even really remember who he was for it to really matter. I just know they needed to do something to move the movie forward, and this was it.
Yep, I felt the same way. I was like, all right, we're finally getting some action. That didn't really stay, though. Because after a short conversation with Ariel, where she asks Moretti what his religion is, the religion of the levelists, and Moretti takes her to their tent, where there's a person in there. Is it shucking oysters? Is that what you call it? Shucking oysters, so they can get pearls out. Either one of you can go. Did you take anything from this scene?
It sounded weird. Like it sounded disgusting. Also, one of the things that he said, it was like, it really isn't even worth the trouble because you won't find enough pearls anyway to do it. So I was like, what the fuck are they doing it for then? But I guess it's a faith thing, to have faith that you will find the pearl. But in the context of the question that he asked her, it was just, no, it fell flat.
I thought that it was applying to her, that she was a pearl, and that's why she was invited there.
You thought a lot about that.
Yeah, I didn't think that.
I ain't get
Well,
that. I ain't get
makes
there.
sense,
Yeah, the second time I watched it, I was, oh, she's supposed to be the pearl. Remember the conversation with Jesse? Like, it was making that conversation make a little bit more sense. Like, she's overlooked, she's middle. So, you know, all that the conversation at the table, the conversation with Jesse, you know, are them just kind of, you know, chugging the horses or whatever, and she's the pearl that's inside. But now that I'm talking about it, it don't make sense. But I thought she was supposed to be the pearl. That's why it would explain why she's there out of all the people. Mm-hmm. You know, that she had some potential that no one else had.
It makes sense as you explained it.
Yeah.
It's not going to make sense later.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that hard. I was just like, okay, this is just more, you know, look at us. We're weird. We're shucking oysters. And yeah, I don't think it went anywhere at all. So yeah, Emily gets a tickle in the back of her throat and they take her to the infirmary. And then we see, what's her name? Ariel having conversation with, is it Sam or Stan? I think it's Stan, actually. Having a conversation with Stan, who's the editor or whatever. And she wants to do a companion piece to his, and while they're talking about it, he gets shot in the arm with an arrow. Ken, was this shocking to you?
Yeah, because it did come out of nowhere. You know, I think the question I had was the question Ariel asked later. You know, was like, that shit didn't seem unusual. You just get shot out of nowhere. Like, what the hell are you talking about? I think them having the kid come up to apologize really made it seem like it was an accident. But my God, that arrow came through like fast. And I was like, how was that kid able to shoot that arrow like that? Like, does he have enough strength to create that much force?
Yeah.
To pierce his arm? But no, it did catch me off guard. It did come out of nowhere.
This too was like the same thing with the head for me, in the sense of like, bro, just like a random arrow shot you out of nowhere. The kid did fix it, like you said. Like, we seen him painting and doing all these other things on the ground. So maybe there is someone shooting arrows, just doing archery somewhere. But for it to hit him mid sentence like that, it seemed suspicious and added on to the suspicion of the show. But it didn't hit though. Like, I was still thinking, like, so they just cut a dude head off. Another just got shot with an arrow. And these are regular people. Like, what's going to happen when someone gets scared and want to leave? But they, like, I guess they kind of addressed it with the main character, but everybody else was just so, their head was so far up their asses that, like, even dude getting shot with an arrow, nobody was like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah, they were just obsessed. I think, you know, celebrity culture.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So, were you surprised that no one listened to Ariel when she tried to go back and clue them in on what was going on?
No, not at all. I think going back to the arrow, I think the one thing is like all the targets were in the opposite
Other
direction.
way. Yeah. How'd
So
you
it's
shoot?
just
How'd you
like-
shoot him?
Yeah.
And then I guess that's what I was trying to like. I was like, I guess it's a kid, maybe. So was looking that way and did it wrong or whatever it may be.
But
So,
I'm not surprised because she does sound a little crazy. I think the cover story for the kid using it to them that are blinded by Moretti and his celebrity status, they're gonna look at these as well, with the one incident as incidental. But I think you still have no explanation for Bill, and you still have no explanation for I think what's her name was gone by then, right?
the blogger.
The one that Mike said she started coughing.
Yeah,
the influencer,
Emily.
yeah. So she was gone, and they had a reason for that. So some of these things could be explained. What you guys think about the dance scene, though?
That was the next scene. Moretti's dancing at dinner.
Oh, it was.
I didn't think shit about it. I like John Malkovich fine. I'm not like a huge fan, and him doing this didn't change anything. I was like, all right, well, cool. He's dancing around.
I think he played the character well. I just don't think the story was good enough around it. But I think he did a good job playing that character. The dance scene was entertaining.
Him bending her over and then the fake head that he just like, bro, y'all are really just letting
here
everything
was just
go.
wilding.
Yeah, like this is
a Diddy party.
for real.
So Ariel runs. Oh, but yeah, I think I already said what I thought. And it was just like, whatever. But Ariel runs out and she finds all of the phones in like a barn. And then she sees that there's bloody tools everywhere, and she decides that she needs to leave. However, the bus isn't there, so they convince her to watch a show while waiting. Spike, what did you think about the show, the little puppet show?
Puppet show. I didn't think it was weird. Like the little boy was so excited to have her come and convince her to stay. The little boy, a con artist, because he the one that shot the arrow too, ain't he?
Oh, I thought
Was
that was
he?
a little
Oh,
girl.
this is a different boy.
Yeah, that was a girl.
Oh, this
That
was a girl. It was a girl that.
Yeah, that was the girl she befriended earlier.
I just it was weird to me that she was the one that was championing this puppet play, and it was like that was a weird ass play for a kid to be saying, "Hey, I'm so proud of this. I want you to come see it." Like, that was weird.
Yeah, I think she had a little attachment to the kid. This part I did like. And what I mean by that is I like the fact that she was like, I'm getting the fuck up out of here. That seemed very realistic to me. I've had enough. I want to go. I don't want to stay here. I think she should have picked up on the clues a little bit more about the excuses that they had for why she couldn't leave. And also, again, using the kid as a cover story. And, I thought you wanted to watch the play. I don't remember her saying that.
No,
So she did say that in the movie? Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't recall them ever having that conversation until she said it. But I'm like, stick to your gun.
Right, stay
the black woman that you are.
Keep
like,
going.
no.
Like, nah, I need to leave.
Right,
Like,
I'm
I
not
don't
going
wanna
in there
see
to
no
watch no damn play.
I don't care nothing about no bus. Somebody got to have a car. Get me out of here now.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when York got all pissed off. He was like, "You're missing out on an opportunity," whatever he said.
Like, man, shut the fuck
You
up.
know,
Right.
but the play itself, it sounded like that was kind of Moretti's, kind of referendum on like the media's role and how they only focus on the negative things that occur and not the music and things that to them as a creative, as an artist, that matters. You're focused on me being, in Billie Holiday's case, a prostitute and, drugs and all these things. You're not asking me about the music. So that was his message to the people that was watching. And of course, visibly using racks that are decomposing and stuff like that, as well. So
Yeah, I didn't like the scene. Big surprise there. Didn't like the scene. Thought it was, thought it could have been cool, but it was just a bit too on the nose. They're badgering her about, like you said, her being a prostitute before entering the music industry, her substance issues. And, I think that what we're supposed to take from that is that the journalists badgering her are partly at fault for her death because she died of cirrhosis because she was using so many substances. But then, making the journalist rats, it was just like, dude, like, again, you're just treating us like we're fucking stupid. This scene didn't even need to be in the film.
It didn't.
At all. It lent nothing to the rest of the film. And you randomly picked Billie Holiday. I feel like this is, again, y'all trying to be weird for weird's sake. It's like we're gonna get obscure on them. Because we could easily make the same point about like Princess Di and show that, those journalists made her wreck and die, so journalists are bad. But let's use Billie Holiday. Why? So no, didn't like the scene. So then we have, so everyone is sitting on beanbags. And Ariel's beanbag actually starts moving.
Which she didn't feel.
Bruh.
Sitting on the beanbag the whole time.
Another of my big issues with this
here.
film. At no point you felt human lumps. And why did Emily Chu start moving at that point? It's just fucking stupid, man. But yeah, Emily, who was taken earlier because she had a little cough, and they went and got her some Robitussin, and then I guess they stuffed her into a beanbag. And she's now got some swollen shit coming out of her mouth. But Ken, what did you think of this part?
Her being stuffed in that beanbag was hilarious placement for her. You can see that she's struggling to move the beanbag to the window. So you can clearly see that something must be in it because beanbags are not that heavy. And what I really wanted was for people to really say, "Oh shit, you were right." Like, but it was just like, "Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing?" What I did think was funny though was when he pushed that not the eye, but when when Moretti was going to sit on the beanbag and he just pushed that with that other girl off the beanbag because she was leaning against the beanbag, he just tossed her aside.
I might have missed that.
Yeah, that shit was funny to me. But this is just, we just want to, pull a wig, snatch a wig back, and we're just gonna brutally murder these people and create an escape path for her to get out, which I did like that she got the fuck up out of there and ran because that felt very real to me, considering the fact she wanted to leave because she didn't try to help nobody.
Right, fuck that.
But yeah, I felt like they were trying to be gruesome with the whole swelling of the tongue and stuff like that, just to kind of, gross out the audience.
Yeah, they needed the gory scene, so I guess this was it. I still didn't understand what he said he gave her. He said something that sucks the moisture out of like her organs or something like that.
Yeah.
Which was interesting way to kill somebody, but yeah, I like the fact what Ken said that she got up out of there. I would have hate to see her like grabbing somebody saying, "Come on, let's go," when she already done tried to tell him and then tried to leave. I'm hopping out this window. I'll let y'all figure everything else out on y'all own since y'all wanted to be here so bad. So, yeah.
Yeah, the only part that was slightly enjoyable to me was when he pushed her eye and the eye squirted into his eye. I was like, what the fuck? What just happened here? But I still don't really get it, and I maybe never will. But after this, they all try to leave, but they're attacked and restrained. So Sam is, he's at first slammed through a window, and then they throw him down, and Clara is dragged across the floor. And I don't know if this bothered either one of you, but her scalp separating, I was like, this is stupid. Because why?
Because she kept saying the wig was on so tight throughout the movie.
Oh, I missed that part.
Yeah,
then.
she kept saying it. She said it twice.
Okay, never mind. Okay, I missed that part. All right, so it's not that stupid. Cool. Did y'all have anything to add to
No, but did y'all think this was super weird? The shaving of the pubic hair.
That's what I forgot to mention. Like, what was that about?
Oh, did I leave that out? Oh shit.
Probably. I mean, it's
that was weird as hell, and it never paid off.
Yeah.
Like, what was the point of that?
I totally skipped this question, so thank you for bringing this back. Yes, there was a scene after Ariel showers, and all the people enter her room where they're calling this fashioning, and this is the part where Rachel cut her pubes. I totally accidentally skipped over that.
It was weird. And there was no payoff. I guess the only payoff was the wig thing because she got fashioned into her wig and the wig was too tight and then you said the scalp.
My thing is, why did y'all let this happen?
Yeah,
this is a violation of your privacy. Nope. Like, are you completely, and maybe that's the point, is to show that they're so completely bought into this that they're willing to let everything go. But Ariel wasn't. It made no sense for her to allow this to happen against her will.
The common sense question would be like, for her, like, at what point would he ever see my pubes to know if you did this or not?
Right.
So just go tell him I agreed to it. Like, I'm not doing it.
Well, they have cameras and stuff, but either way.
But the cameras inside the rooms weren't not like Ariel didn't know that there were cameras in the room.
This is true.
She thought, and she said, I wouldn't be surprised if there were, but she didn't know for a fact that they were being recorded. We can imagine that Rachel, the other black woman, did. But I hated this scene. The first time I saw it, I was like, okay, we're getting weird now. Let's see what's happening. By the end of the movie, I was like, well, that scene served no purpose.
Yeah, it never played out.
Just like so many things that happen in this film, it's just weird for weird's sake. It's seriously like this guy sat down and he's like, let's try to make everything as weird as possible. What's the weirdest thing we can make them do that's not an absolute violation?
Ask her to cut her pubes.
We're going to cut her pubes. And the fact that she let her do it, again, it's just like, what the fuck are we watching? This is stupid. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because it allowed me to say how much I thought that scene was fucking dumb. What did you think of the story that Moretti told about Caesar? Spike, I'll start with you.
Uninterested. It didn't. I think that was supposed to be a monologue that was supposed to tie things together, kind of give us more understanding of the movie and him as a leader of this cult. But it just did not register at this point. It was like, bro, it's already too weird for you to try to like bring this home with a monologue about Julius Caesar and you being the son. Like, come on, bro. That was the point where you said a couple of times, like, why are y'all playing me like I'm dumb, bro?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I still don't get what he was trying to say other than we're worth more and always will be worth more than you or we're better than you. Maybe. I don't know. I still don't really get what he was trying to say about Caesar being captured by pirates and the ransom and stuff like that.
I think he was trying to say, because he talks about how Caesar was kidnapped and they were asking, because they didn't know it was Caesar. They just thought it was some dude. So they were asking the same amount of ransom for the regular commoners as they were asking for Caesar. So Caesar made them raise the money or raise the price because he's like, I'm better than the rest of these people. Mm-hmm. But when Moretti is telling Ariel this story, he says, well, what do you think that means? And then she's like, I don't really know. And he's like, it means that royalty, even at the mercy of peasants, is still royalty. So Moretti thinks of himself as royalty, and he's being held by the journalists. He's basically been kidnapped throughout his whole career because he says how Caesar came back after he was freed and killed the kidnappers. Mm-hmm. Once again, it's like they're playing with us like we're stupid. Now we're seeing Moretti do the exact same thing. He's coming back and he's killing his kidnappers, the people that disrespected him and treated him like a commoner, which I don't care.
Yeah, and I was going to say, so the reason that you bring these 7 journalists up here and kill them, like for 29 years you've been thinking about that?
Bro.
That's been on your mind for 29 years, and the best way that you felt to come up with it is have this elaborate dinner, and I want to kill them in like some mysterious way. But that's insane.
But the thing is, he kind of alludes to the fact that he sees himself as equal to the rest of the people in there. Wasn't that part of a conversation he had with Ariel?
That he sees himself as the same as the rest.
I'm trying to remember. She was asking, "What is the character trait of your religion? What do you guys do?"
You know when she was talking to Jord?
No. When the first
she said, "Ain't y'all based in Christianity
by the pool?"
Or something like that.
Remember, she had the conversation by the pool. So It seemed like he was trying to imply that we're all kind of one. We're all God. Mm-hmm. I think there was a conversation about God too, where we all viewed as God, and we're all on the even playing field. I think I can't remember.
I remember the scene because it was after. God damn it! I just realized I left another part out. What just happened here? I think I accidentally skipped over like 3 or 4 paragraphs. Because I did. Shit. Because that was when the concierge was following her.
Yeah, during the job.
Which that could have been cool, but that went no fucking where. And she walks up on him by the pool, and he didn't really reveal anything that was that interesting to me in that scene. Maybe that's why I accidentally skipped over it. But yeah, so while everybody is getting stabbed with some of the absolute worst CGI I have seen in years. This looked like a fucking video game. I don't know why they couldn't use practical effects, but you have all these big name actors and you're seriously using shitty fucking computer CGI. Nice. So they stab everybody and Ariel takes off running and then she runs into a building. Hopefully I'll remember. But what do you think about what she finds in the building?
Oh, boy's head. That'll be a lot.
Oh,
Yeah, on display.
And what else did she find?
What else did she find?
Damn. Cyanide and champagne.
Oh, she was gonna get everybody. He was gonna. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, I totally
I missed that.
Yeah.
I see it now in my head
do
because
too.
the bottles was labeled cyanide. Also, he was gonna do the Jim Jones thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's
Oh,
that's
that
what we
was
were
the play.
supposed to
Okay,
assume.
now it makes a lot more sense then. Because I thought he just brought the journalist there to kill them.
He
And
did.
then he gonna have to deal with. But if he was
did.
gonna drink cyanide, everybody was gonna die, right?
Because that was part of the ruse. He wasn't really going to do that. So we'll get to that part because there's only two more parts here.
Gotcha.
But yeah, there was cyanide and champagne in the room. So Ariel assumed that he was going to put cyanide in the champagne. Everybody was going to drink it, and then everybody was going to die. But before she can figure out exactly what's going on, she's captured and she's taken back. And but she's let loose by Rachel, the black woman that trimmed up her black bush. And she manages to escape.
And she told her how to get out, right? Rachel
Yes,
did,
she said, run to the end of the street and go left. So when this happened, I was like, okay, all right, cool. But we fast forward 2 years and we see that she's gone back, first of all, to that shitty ass fucking hairdo. They fucking spent all this time on the cult place fixing your fucked up hair, and you decided to go back to that shitty ass doo-wop ass fucking hairdo. I don't understand that. But she's also written a book about her whole ordeal. And then she's talking to Moretti about the whole thing. She finally asks him, why did you pick me? All of the questions she asks him. So I'm going to start with you, Spike, since you were a little bit confused about that. What did you think about the conversation she had with Moretti while he was in jail?
I still wasn't enlightened anymore. I was planning on getting here and seeing what y'all thought. Like, he did give some context, but I still left the movie and that scene like, what did I just watch? Like, I know he just gave a dissertation about his thought process and what he was doing, but it didn't come off clear to me. So...
She was the opus. This whole thing was his masterpiece.
Right.
You know, planning out this whole thing. And it was him being, I guess you could say, creative and artistic, you know, outside of music by planning this whole thing out. For him to get the message of his cult, the Levelists, out to more people. So he basically used her as a pawn to amplify the message. The album still sold like crazy.
I remember that.
More, and so he got more fans now than he did before this whole thing started. So he basically just manipulated and used her to do that.
So he knew she would get away.
Because she
all
was
planned.
Yep. He planned the whole thing out. This was the part I did like. I was like, oh, dang, that's actually kind of cool that they did that. It just felt like it didn't feel like yeah.
Okay.
So I did like that part. Like, oh, because I had to replay it back in my head. I was like, damn. So the black lady wasn't really helping her escape.
She was
after
doing
all.
it. She was told.
She was told to do that. The guy at the with the barbed wire wasn't. He was planted there as well. And
I
the
didn't
whole
catch that.
I
thought
think
he
he
was. I thought he was just like a regular ass person.
I think he was a plant, and it did remove the tension of her being chased because I really wanted that crazy girl to get back. But that wasn't anything. So even if she would have caught her, it wouldn't have meant anything. She was just faking the whole time. Mm-hmm. The question I had was I was like, why did the black girl just let her go? So, like they established no relationship. There was like no sister girl this, no sister girl that. It was just like, I'm gonna just let you go. So I felt kind of stupid. It's like after it was revealed, I was like, damn.
So he's claiming that he's so genius, he knew she was going to write a book about this that would...
Because of how he treated the one person that she wrote about when the description
Yeah.
of the chin.
Yes, and he was like, I knew you would handle my chin properly.
Right.
He knew that she was basically ignored, so he kind of fed into her ego by inviting her there. That was enough for her to think she was somebody. So he knew that she would write the story and write the story well. And he knew that he would be even more famous afterwards and that his cause would be more popular. Does this make sense? No. Unlike Ken, I didn't think that this explanation was cool. I thought it was fucking stupid because when the black woman, Rachel is her name, when she freed Ariel, she also knocked over this fire thing that lit his robe on fire, which I'm gonna assume that was an accident. I don't think she meant to do that on purpose. But when Ariel was running, I was like, this doesn't really make any sense because she starts running and the next thing you know, she's on an ATV. And I was just like, okay, what the fuck is this? So when she got to the fence and she jumped over, the reason I don't think that guy was planted was because I think he was just one of the acolytes that just loved him. But I don't know if he was planted because he was looking at his phone saying how jealous he was.
Yeah, she got to go in.
That Emily was in there.
Yeah.
So, and then when the woman, I don't remember if they even gave her a name, but the concierge that was following her caught up, she didn't really do anything to him. I think she
stopped to him.
Yeah, she just like turned around and just walked back in. So I was like, okay. But I thought that this explanation was so whack. It was like, dude, so this whole thing, we're supposed to believe that you picked this girl because you saw one article and you knew that she was going to write about you. And then they show this montage, which I assume, Spike, you must have missed, because that's when they show all of the people that were on the compound are working in different jobs. Or maybe you missed it too, I don't know. But they showed Rachel. Rachel was teaching people about the levelists. Then they showed one of the other guys who's working at an ice cream place. And they showed another guy.
Yeah. Like the after parts of where they went to.
Yeah, that was all of the levelists that they thought were dead. Because she kept asking, where are the bodies of the levelists? And he's like, I don't have them. And that's because they're not dead. They've been spread out into society. And we're just waiting for the moment to strike. Which, what? So it ends with her having a conversation with a talk show host. The talk show host is asking her questions about, is this really how it went down? You know, how do you feel about blah, 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 blah. So what did you think of that ending scene, Spike? Or were you still just like, I don't understand what the fuck's going on?
I was still partly, I don't understand what the fuck going on. But I did get that she finally reached her like potential as to what she was trying to be. I thought that's what they were trying to say. Like, people are interested in her now, her stories. She's getting to talk about her work like she wanted to at the beginning.
Okay.
Full circle.
And, you know, I guess now at this point, since she knows 2 years later why she was there, you know, does that
give her more confidence?
No. Does that remove it? Like, the only reason she's popular is because she got used and played like a fiddle. She's not... He allowed her to unleash the talent and allow the world to see, which is why I thought the pearl thing, she was the pearl out of all the oysters. The reason why I said that's what I thought, but I don't think that was the case, is because when he was having a conversation with the other groups, he described the rest of them as the pearls, not her. So that didn't even apply to her. She wasn't even a pearl. The rest of the levelists were the pearls that he was looking to find using her. So when she came to that realization, when she saw the pearl necklace, she realized that she still could be viewed as a middling person, because she didn't really get there through her talent. She got there based on what he was able to do for her. But she didn't really, so maybe he allowed the world to see her for what she is, but at what cost?
Yeah, I only thing I got from that final scene is that now she is paranoid because it zooms in on a necklace, which maybe you didn't see, but the host had a pearl necklace on. So I think we're supposed to assume that she might be one of the levelists. So it ends
And she's in blue too.
And she was in blue. So it ends with Ariel having this look on her face like, oh shit, I was played and I helped this message spread. and it ends. So I immediately thought Kanye. I immediately thought, okay, he's making a statement about, the culture of being obsessed with celebrities. And it was just, once again, so ass. It was so ass because it was like, when I looked up who this dude was, 'cause I was like, this is the shittiest film. How did you get all of these big name actors in it? I still don't know, but apparently he used to be a journalist. So it was like, okay, if you used to be a journalist, then how did you write a journalist as being the most empty, boring, inconsequential character in the whole fucking film? Ayo was used. She is better than this. She had nothing to work with. And when that movie ended, I was seriously so fucking pissed off. And I seriously wanted to ask, who the fuck recommended this fucking movie?
Jalen.
And but I had to chill out because at the same time, it's not Jalen's fault because I did want to see it.
I did too, though.
I did want to see it. I was like, she's really good.
She has one of those faces now that you've seen her in the Bear and how good she is. You're like, okay, I'm interested in it because she's in it.
She's expressive.
She's definitely in that category for me. So I did want to see it, but I just knew I'd get around to it eventually. I wouldn't have done it. It wouldn't have been anything pressing if we hadn't did it here.
Bruh.
So
this was wrong, man. I feel like Ariel.
It was an injustice.
I feel like I was used. Because all this dude does is he used us to make himself more popular. Yeah. Because now we know his fucking name, which I didn't know before. But we know his name off of a whack-ass movie. Yeah. And you got all of these great
with familiar
actors.
Faces. Yeah.
And I didn't even know before, but the girl that was chasing Ariel, she was the girl that starred in Predator.
Oh, yeah.
The main character. Yeah. So it's like you relegated her to some bullshit.
The main concierge, he played in something popular too. I can't remember what it was.
White Lotus.
Who?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Stan. My bad.
Oh.
Stan was in White Lotus.
I don't even remember Stan being in White Lotus.
Who was Stan? Which one was Stan?
It was in season 1. He was the one that ran. He was the manager of the hotel.
That was him?
Mm-hmm. Just with a beard.
Oh, shit. Yep. Okay.
It sure was.
Wow, I didn't catch that either.
I think that I'm talking about the main dude.
The sidekick guy, Yord.
Yeah, Yord. He played in, I think he was a main character in Barry or something like that.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't finish the whack ass.
What was his name?
His name was Yord on the movie.
Yeah.
But when it ended, I wanted to bring this line up. So when she's talking to Yord says, because she's asking him, what was the point of the Levelists? And he said, we are the one and only holistic path to prevent the obstruction of creativity and ensure the protection of those divinely burdened to wield it. So this whole thing is about their obsession with protecting artists from those who will critique artists. So this whole thing is a commentary on stan culture and critique. And I was just like, dude, you could have done this. First of all, this shit didn't need to be an hour and 40 minutes. This could have been a short film.
So good.
Because that's what he's known. He only did one other thing. It was a short film. This should have been a short film too. Yeah. There was no reason to have me sitting here for an hour and 40 minutes for this bullshit. So yeah, I am highly annoyed with this movie. I don't have any desire to see anything else this dude does. And that sucks because, it's only his first film. But you left a bad impression. You told me that all you know how to do is copy shit that other people have done. Blatantly.
He played in Better Call Saul.
I ain't seen that shit neither.
Yeah. The lawyer that Saul was always arguing with, the little public defender guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, that's all my thoughts. Y'all can have this bullshit.
I was surprised people. Well, I don't know if people wanted us to do it or not, but I
think because it's bad. I think they wanted us to tear it apart.
I don't know. I think the opposite. I think people. I think the opposite. I do know it is receiving mixed reviews, but it's struggling at the box office. I think it was 19 mil and it's only done 2.2.
I'm surprised it cost that much to make. Wait, 19 mil to make and it only raised 2 million?
I think it's only done 2. I don't. And if it's not 19, it's 10. But either way it goes, it's still bad.
You know what? I never wish for the downfall and the failure of anybody's movie. But to the person that made this, you gotta understand when you're a little bit out of your depth. You know what I'm saying? This is seriously. I don't know, man. This is me after doing the one song we did, thinking I can rap a Mos Def. That's what this is.
It's 2.19 million worldwide, 1.9 domestically.
That's pathetic.
The film had an estimated budget of $10 million.
So
He ain't letting him make no more movies.
So he's done.
That's it.
You know, I think he had a ending in mind. He just didn't know how to get there.
Yes,
And that's
that's the
issue.
problem. He should have let somebody else write this, you know, and maybe they would have done a better job. But yeah, it seemed like all he had was a skeleton of an idea and an ending. I want to make a movie about this, but we've already seen this. We saw the menu. That was basically the same point
damn thing, right?
that you were trying to make. And it's like, and the menu just came out. If the menu was 15 years old, I can understand you want to do a remix of the menu. But it's not old.
Yeah.
And you knew people liked the menu. And the menu wasn't like a blockbuster hit, but people liked
Yeah,
it.
more good than this stuff.
And then you know people fuck with Midsummer. So you should have known that people were going to immediately clock the fact that you were blatantly taking shit from that movie, which of course Midsummer took from Wicker Man. We know that, but that was a much bigger time gap. You got 1970 something to 2020 something. So come on, bro. So yeah, I hope this person makes another film, but I hope he takes this as a very serious learning lesson. This is not what the film industry needs. So good luck to you. This was some ass. I'm not going to blame any of the actors. I hope they do other things, especially Ayo. So that's all I got. Anybody else got any closing thoughts?
Nope.
Tight. Opus was some poopus. And we will see y'all next time. Peace.
Peace.